Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Rice Report. I'm so happy that you've tuned in to find out what's happening here in Rockville, in my office, your office, and your connection to the County Council. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the budget and what's going on in terms of our negotiations and how we're trying to restructure our county's budget deficit that we're facing. One of the things that we've committed ourselves to amongst all of our county council members is making sure that there's equity spread amongst all of our employees. And that spans from our public school employees to our McGeo County employees to our firefighters and our police. We want to make sure that whatever structural changes we make to this budget are fair and equitable to all of our employees. That is one of our #1 goals. But one of the other things that we also want to do is make sure that we're making structural changes. Previously, councils in the past, and we've seen this with our state government as well, have made quick knee-jerk fixes that I think don't address our true structural deficit problem. We have to make long-standing changes that will have an effect on our budget for years to come, so that we don't continuously find ourselves trying to find money each and every year, which means cuts to valuable services as well as potential cuts to jobs, and frankly to the pay for those employees that haven't seen pay increases in 3 or 4 years. And so I think that it's important that us as a council commit ourselves to making sure that these structural changes, again, are fair and equitable, spread amongst everyone, but that also achieve true cost savings, not only in current years, but in future years as well. We have a number of different options that are before us, and we're working with our Office of Legislative Oversight, as well as all of the stakeholders and unions, to come up with a consensus, a true understanding of where we need to be as a county and how we can move forward together. I remain committed to make sure that everyone's voice is heard and that everyone has a seat at the table when it comes to these negotiations. And I look forward to these coming weeks when we can come out with a plan that I think will address everyone's concerns and also ensure that everyone's voice has been heard. I want to talk to you about the bag tax that was recently passed by the County Council. I think this is an important step for us in moving forward when it comes to making sure that we make a statement about the fact that we care about our environment. It's extremely important to me in seeing the myriad of plastic bags that litter our streams and waterways, as well as in the trees as you drive by, to know that we are making a stand and trying to make a difference.
The stuff on the side of the bank of the creek here, that's what I was telling you about earlier. That's a real eyesore. That's what the kids hate seeing when they walk in the creek and they're walking along the ride.
Almost all plastic. That's the one thing that we have this year. It's just plastic. It kind of drapes the trees, kind of looks like Christmas decorations. You know, in past years there have been a lot more bottles and cans, but this year it's mainly plastic draping the trees.
We've seen the good leadership and work that the DC Council has done in terms of passing a bag tax, and we want to emulate those same results in terms of reducing the amount of plastic bags that are found not only alongside our roadways but also in our waterways and streams. This is not a revenue bill, and I want to be very clear about that. This is an opportunity for us to change people's way of thinking and to make sure that they are mindful of the fact of how these plastic bags can impact our environment. Our hope is that this will be a declining revenue source to where we won't see any money coming out of this. And the ultimate result will be cleaner and much better environmental areas. And so that's really important to us. So I'm happy to see that that bag tax passed. I want to talk a little bit about Clarksburg, and you've heard me talk about Clarksburg a lot, but Clarksburg is truly moving forward. We've achieved some great things there. You've already heard about the master plan amendment that was proposed that allowed for a grocery store to be built in the Clarksburg, Aurora Hills area. And so the planning board has signed off on that, and we're now waiting for the county executive to sign off on that proposal as well. And once that's done, we will see grocery and retail come to Clarksburg. I can't tell you how happy I am, because that was one of my initial campaign promises, to make sure that things started moving in Clarksburg. And so I'm very happy for those residents there that waited for years for something to finally come to Clarksburg, that they actually now have some infrastructure being built. I do want to talk about something that is extremely concerning to me regarding infrastructure in Clarksburg, and that is Stringtown Road. Many of the residents there have expressed major concern about the safety of Stringtown Road and also its completion in connecting Clarksburg together. Just as early as this morning, we unfortunately had a bus accident that involved two buses where there were injuries with some elementary school students. And this highlights the concern of ours that we need to make sure that we move forward with infrastructure changes in Clarksburg immediately. And so my office has been mobilized to work with other members of the council, including the chair of the Planning, Housing and Economic Development Committee, Nancy Florine, to make sure that the money that's allocated for the planning process for Stringtown Road moves forward. And I'm very hopeful that in the next coming days that will be approved so we can avoid accidents like this that continue to happen in Clarksburg. I want to talk about something that's a little bit controversial that we've heard from people on both sides almost equally, and that's roadside solicitation. Many of you have heard from me before that there was a bill that was in Annapolis dealing with a roadside solicitation ban or a permitting process. And that bill unfortunately died in Annapolis, but what Councilmember Phil Andrews, Council President Valerie Irvin, and myself decided to sponsor was limiting county employees soliciting in the roadways, not on medians, but in the roadways on county time. I do believe that this is a responsibility of us as the county employer to make sure that we are guaranteeing that our workplaces are safe and that our workers are safe. And by us allowing for any county employee, whether they're a firefighter or anyone else, to walk into the streets, which is a violation of state law, but then also is unsafe and puts them in harm's way, is irresponsible. And I cannot support us doing something like that and allowing for this practice to continue. So I'm hopeful that this bill will pass, which again is a protective measure to make sure that our county employees are not putting themselves in harm's way and unnecessarily. And regardless of the arguments that you might hear from the firefighters or for others that are trying to raise money for different organizations, we're not saying that these folks can't raise money for these organizations. We think that all of the organizations that many of our county employees spend their time and raise money for are very valid and important and need to be supported. But we want to make sure that we're not undermining our county employees' safety at the same time. Now, on a lighter note, I want to reach out to my residents in Germantown. I've spent a lot of time in various areas from Olney to Clarksburg to Damascus and Poolesville, reaching out to those constituents. And I know that I've heard from a lot of my residents in Germantown that they haven't heard a lot from me. Well, I did want to let them know that I've got great news for you. We've got a Wegmans that's coming to Germantown. And for many of you that know the Wegmans brand, this is a tremendous opportunity for us. It's going to be a great economic engine and economic boost. And for those of you that love that Wegmans food, that means one less meal that you have to cook at night. So just wanted to let you know that that is moving and is on track. I'm very excited about the opportunity for this fantastic for the shopping center that's going to be centered around this Wegmans that will be built in 2013. And looking forward to some of that great food myself. So again, wanted to give you a little insight into what's going on here in Rockville, in the County Council building, my office, your office. I always invite you to always contact us with any questions or concerns you have. Please weigh in on the budget as we only have a few weeks left and we'd still love to hear from you. Our telephone number here in the office is 240-777-7955. And you can also reach us on the Montgomery County Council website, which is www.montgomerycountymd.gov. I look forward to hearing from you via all of those, and you can always contact me at my Facebook page, which is Councilmember Craig Rice as well. Thanks so much for tuning in to another edition of the Rice Report, and God bless.